I invite the moderator, Dr. MANOSI LAHIRI, CEO ML Infomap, to take the session forward. The panelists for the session are Dr. SANJAY JAIN, Scientist G, and Head of Water Resources Systems Division, National Institute of Hydrology, Dr. Sandeep GOYAL, Senior Principal Scientist, MAPIT from Madhya Pradesh, Dr. PRITAM WANJARI, GIS Expert from Vasundhara Watershed Agency, Pune. Ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, the session is on challenges and role of geospatial technologies in water management. We are beginning our panel discussion here with 4 eminent experts whose views we are very much looking forward to hear. Could you please, panelists, switch on your video? Dr. PRITAM WANJARI, I can see you.
Hi, Manushi.
Yeah, that's Sandeep. Dr. Sanjay Jain, I can see you. And Vinay, if you could please switch on your video. Okay. So far today, we have had 3 very interesting sessions in the morning, of course. In the afternoon, we started off with the wonderful news about the liberalization of geospatial data, the liberalization of the guidelines for access to the geospatial data. And after that session, we've had 2 very interesting topics. Dr. Pati, he spoke primarily about the problems in groundwater, and the solution to it, as he said, was management. That's an important point. In the previous session, Dr. Dadwal took us through all the many different ways geospatial technologies have been applied to measuring water in different forms. And he has spoken in great detail about where we can also get this information to keep us informed. Now, and he spoke about water not just existing in itself, but how we look at water related to energy, to environment, and to food. And that is what the management of water involves. It's a complex situation. Okay, so today we will start off by taking a note of the fact that we have a very large number of watersheds in our country. And according to the Watershed Atlas, we have 6 water resources regions. We have 35 basins and 112 catchments, which are further divided into 500 subcatchments and 3,237 watersheds. And these watersheds are, say, on an average, approximately 1 lakh hectares in size. Now, as we know, given the population size, our large population size, which creates a pressure on the supply of water, our urbanization, deforestation, all these together have created huge shortages of water. And as we have heard in the previous sessions, both in the urban and in other areas, and it affects our economy in a big way. Now, naturally, this requires attention, and the government has prioritized water conservation in a big way, and there are many programs, of which the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana is one of them, which particularly mentions the use of IT and remote sensing techniques, GIS, all these to be used within the programs for the purpose of planning, monitoring, and evaluation. Now, here we come to the point where we know that geospatial technology offers many different ways in which we can do this. Now, instead of me actually making a list of all sensors, of tools, of methodologies, of what the outcomes can happen, modeling everything, what I will say now is, because we have experts here with much experience in that line of work, we will start off our panel discussion by asking each of you to please state, say maybe 2 or 3 challenges that you have faced in the last few years, where you feel that government departments in implementing the programs, water programs, have faced, and which may in fact be facilitated in some way by using geospatial technologies. So, may I start off with you, Dr. Sandeep Goyal.
Thank you, MANOSI. Today I could hear Professor Dadwal and other colleagues, and that was a wonderful presentation. So, basic challenges, as I'm working in the state, and certainly most of the implementing agencies are from the state, those who are working for watershed management and supply of drinking water, irrigation schemes, and others. So basic challenges, what I found in development of water resources, that is that various types of schemes doesn't have the coordination with each other. Means everybody is working in a silo. That is the biggest challenge we are having. But recently, a few of the schemes have been launched by the government, like JJM, where for all rural areas, the drinking water supply. So we have 2 departments like Jal Nigam and PHED. Both are working in coordination with that, along with the irrigation department, water resource department. So that way, so GIS, when you talk about the use of geospatial technologies, so like we are working on a state spatial data infrastructure where we are having the repository of all the information, whatever it is, in geospatial format. So that helps departments to really coordinate with each other, or rather it provides a platform where the information can be shared and utilized properly. Watershed management or water resource management cannot be taken as just of a small geographical area or by the usage of one particular type. Like one department talks about only irrigation, other department talks about irrigation with agriculture and other things, or forestry. Then other agencies are talking about the drinking water, then industrial water supply or municipal supplies. So all these have to be looked into a complete as a complete picture. Then only we can talk about that how much consumption for each purpose we are going to have. So that is what is the watershed management planning is required. I'm fortunate that I could work on some of the projects with the National Institute of Hydrology. Dr. Jain is also there. I could work with some of the projects there, and there we did that. We did the water budgeting and how much use can be done for the municipal purposes, or how much water can be consumed for what purpose. That is to be defined properly. So
Sandeep, thank you. I will now, because there's a time constraint, obviously what you're saying is very interesting, but because of time constraints, I must give other panelists also the opportunity to speak about their experience. So the main point that I understood from what you said was, because there are these silos, people implementing and utilizing water in different ways, implementing projects and utilizing water in different ways, the better way of doing it would be to have a common platform where all the information would reside together, people would have access to it, and you found advantage to the GIS platform, I understand from what you said. Now, can I then, since you mentioned about your work along with Mr. Jain, can I please ask you to speak about your experience, Mr. Jain?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I am from National Institute of Hydrology, and as said by Dr. Sandeep about the convergence of different departments. So before discussing about that, I would like to say one of the problems which we are facing in carrying out hydrological studies, whether it is rainfall runoff modeling, snow melt runoff modeling, or soil erosion modeling, whatever it is, we are facing a problem of data, which is one of the challenge. Like for watershed, we require soil moisture, we require ET. So these kind of data, they are not available for at a watershed level. So we cannot estimate, like if you want to estimate water availability. So that is a constraint. Those geospatial technology can improve this data availability. And today only I have seen that guidelines have been issued for acquiring and producing geospatial data. So now maybe we can get more data on open data sources. So that is one of the challenge which we are facing. If we are talking about hilly watershed, then another issue is of the estimation of snow and glacier melt runoff, which is coming from the higher reaches. So that is another issue which we have to keep in mind when we are estimating the water availability in the watersheds. Another issue which you have already mentioned is the soil erosion. Soil erosion and degradation of the watershed, that is one of the major issues, because that is affecting not only the production of crops or the fertile land, but also the dams and reservoirs which are there on the downstream of that watershed. So definitely we have to go for some soil and water conservation structure. But before that, we have to identify what are the suitable sites. So there we can use geospatial technology. Like if we want to have the check dams, if you have to have the rainwater harvesting structures. So the site identification is one of the challenge which we have to keep in mind when we are talking about these geospatial technologies that can definitely help in identification, like topography, if we can have in a better way, which we don't have right now, because the satellite produced digital elevation models, they are not sufficient, they are not very much accurate. So we have to go for advanced technologies to get the topography also. So these are some of the challenges which from hydrology point of view we are facing.
I think this was very interesting because directly or indirectly what you said comes down to the resolution, and increasingly we are getting better resolution, whether it is spectral, whether it's temporal, whether it's spatial, whatever, and the ability to also model this to get what you want out of it is increasing. But of course, I think in your case, so far as water resources go, also the sensors to measure moisture and other parameters of water are equally important within the small watershed. Okay. Thank you. Now, may I just... yes?
Manosi, if you permit, may I add something to what Dr. Jain said?
Yeah.
So initially, we started with Cartoset digital elevation model, and then we have gone to better resolution, 0.5 meters of worldview DEM. And now recently we have established a drone unit, and in a specific case by case, we are also going for a very high resolution digital elevation model for water source planning. If time permits, I'll share a couple of slides.
Okay, certainly. If
let us listen.
If the time permits at the end, I will certainly request you to show those. Huh? So this is interesting information. Okay, what about Dr. PRITAM Wanjari? Would you like to tell us a few of the challenges that you have met?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. The major challenge is Maharashtra. I'm working as a GS expert. 10 years in soil and water conservation department, and a basic. My work is watershed management using a geospatial technology. How to implement for a planning purpose or a monitoring purpose, or major crust is evolution. It's a major part of the government bodies evaluation. So major challenges is the data availability for our side. Is the data availability because we have planning for micro irrigation purpose. So micro irrigation purpose, we don't have a 10K soil data. We don't have a 10K slope data because as a sir told, the water budgeting is the most important thing in a watershed management, because a watershed management is a basic concept of the soil moisture. How to increase soil moisture, and if we have is increase in soil moisture, so we have we want micro level data, soil moisture, slope data, soil depth, soil texture, soil erosion pattern also is, we are more important because of the we are working with Honorable Padma Shri awarded Manya Popotrap awards last 4 years. We are working with regarding watershed management purpose. So the basic problem is how to data acquire, how to data satellite data is readily available. Also 0.5 meter data also available, but process data, how to implement, how to collect data is a major challenge in this era.
Okay, fine resolution data for the watershed for the purpose of water budget is, I believe what you're saying is the requirement. Megha, I'm not able to see the fourth panelist. Hello, Megha. Okay, let's just move on then. Okay, so what would you say, now that we have a understanding of the challenges, how would you say one would like to approach these, and in what way can industry support you in this? What are the areas that you think that industry can offer information, tools, devices?
There are only 3 panelists. The fourth one could not join because of some other meeting.
Okay, and Megha, how much time do we have?
Ma'am, you have till around 4 o'clock, little before 4 o'clock.
Okay,
so around 25 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So this is important for us as in an industry association, speaking to people on the ground in the water resources area to be able to see what industry can offer to improve the situation. So can I have any suggestions from you? Anybody would like to say?
Ma'am, as I have told you that we require a lot of data for our hydrological studies in a watershed. So like soil moisture or ET, which we can have from remote sensing, either microwave or other satellites, but we have to verify those things. So for verification, definitely we need some observation from the site, and for that we require instrumentation. Their industry can means provide all that instrumentation at a number of sites, so that whatever we are doing using remote sensing, using geospatial technologies, that we can verify at some of the points, so that we can say whatever measurements we have done using remote sensing like ET or soil moisture, that we can verify. This is one thing. Second thing, as Mr. Sandeep also said, that we are having better resolution satellites, but they are horizontal satellites. That means horizontal resolution. Digital elevation model, horizontal resolution is better, but if you see the vertical accuracy, still we don't have. For that, either we require drone survey or we have to go for LiDAR survey. So these are the advanced technique through which we can get a better vertical accuracy. In that also we can be supported by the industry, so that we can have from the watershed at a better resolution the topography, which in turn give us better output, which we can use in our hydrological models. Because if you have to have the flood inundation in some of the areas, there we require a better absolute accuracy. Sometimes relative accuracy is okay, but in case of flood inundation, so better accuracy is required. So there also the industry can support us.
One more thing.
Anything else?
Yeah, one thing I would like to add what Dr. Jain said, it is very correct that the support of industry and this platform is right to share this view that industry should support in the form of providing services. Most of the time we are seeing that industry is supporting only in providing the instrumentation or the equipments or selling their products. But if it is in the form of services, like as he said, that we require soil moisture conditions. So if somebody, some agency can provide, fine, we'll do the instrumentation, we'll collect the data, and we'll provide the data for your study. Drones, yes, services are now coming up. Instead of just selling the drones, service sector is also improving. And as you rightly said, sir, we now we have done one watershed study for a proposed dam where we could work from 5 to 8 centimeter vertical accuracy, Z value, with the use of drone 3D, and it was not so cost consuming. If we talk about the total project cost and the cost what is incurred in doing that survey and processing of data, so that's not so high, and we could get very good information, and we could improve the planning of that structure, because the submergence area which they have calculated by the earlier technology, resolutions which were available with or other DEMs what were available. And when we surveyed with the drone, the difference was huge. So the land acquisition cost and other costs what we could save in that was a very good added advantage in that. So that
okay, so it was, yeah. So as I understand from you, it was worthwhile doing that survey, and the outcome that you had from it was as expected and better.
Yeah.
So
service providers, service providers.
Dr. Pritam, you would like to say something?
Yeah,
please.
Is a correct statement. The service provider is very less amount in a natural management sector, because urban sector is a service provider service provider is a large amount, a huge amount is service provider. But in natural resource management is watershed management also, or soil health purpose. The service provider is very small amount. They having a lot of good equipments, good softwares. I have experience. Last 4 years, we have a study conducted of entire Maharashtra state. For main object, our study to identify geographical correct location for the soil and water conservation site. So we have a lot of softwares, different platform. We are using a lot of softwares. Different platform we have using satellite also, drone data we are using also. But major crust or major problem is service, because service sector is very as like low amount or not up to the mark. So basic problem is service. I agree with Sanjay, Jain sir and Sandeep sir also.
Yeah, we understand your requirement, and it is a concern even within our industry that we need to develop skills for people to service our clients. We realize that. So this is something that we take back from you during this discussion. Would you like to talk to us about some of the upcoming programs and projects in watershed development?
Ma'am, I forget to
mention. In your state?
Yes, I forget to mention, and as you have rightly said about the watershed development, one project which we are now we are doing and we are planning to have it in Himalayan watersheds like in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. That is the spring inventory. Because so far we are not having spring, which is one of the major sources in hilly watersheds. Springs are drying and all that, and some of them are disappearing. So first task which we are carrying out now is the inventory. and how they are then the recharge source of these springs. So in that also, if we can do it in a better way, because to prepare an inventory of these springs, we have to go to the field and then we have to map them. And we can take the help of remote sensing and geospatial technologies also. But even then, a lot of manpower we are engaging. So how we can reduce this manpower through some advanced technologies and other techniques. So in a better way, we have to make an inventory of all these things, and then we have to see the sources of recharge of these things. So this is one of the projects which we are doing now, and we are taking up in a bigger way in the coming years. And also for that, we are planning to have ArcGIS server, so that we can generate the information system of all the springs of hilly watersheds. So this is one of the projects which we are planning to take up in a bigger way.
Okay, this is for identification of springs and all related information.
Yes.
Towards inventory of springs.
Yes.
Any other projects? Excuse me, somebody needs to switch off the mic. Yeah, thank you.
In Maharashtra state, one more project is right now going on with GSDA department. Is the Atal Bhujal Yojana. The project is main objective is rejuvenation of the water body, or created some new additional storage for drinking water purpose. So one more project, and other project is soil and water conservation department. Soil and water conservation department by rejuvenation of water body. All water bodies 600 above hectare areas water body rejuvenated. This project will be implemented 2 or 3 months or April or June. So 2 major projects will pipeline, and major our project is a PMK, so Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanjay Yojana is a part of the IWMP, Integrated Watershed Management Program. This project is going on. It will be June 2021. So it will be project going on in 2020 June. So it is one project is going on, and 2 projects is upcoming projects in Maharashtra state.
Okay. Any other information on projects and programs coming up? Anything in Madhya Pradesh?
Even in recent guidelines of Atmanirbhar Bharat, the departments have been given the task to go for the sustainable or integrated development of watersheds. Already some programs were going on since long, for many years, but now this has been being focused in this program also. So that our agriculture department has initiated an MP, and we are working with them, so that because now we are working with public health engineering who are responsible to supply the drinking water. We are working with WRD, those who are creating the irrigation structures, medium and major, and then now with the agriculture department. So we'll be having a common platform where we can share the information, and we'll utilize the resources in much better way. So that way, that initiative has been taken in MP, in the Atmanirbhar MP program. It is there.
Okay, so we have come to the end of our panel discussion. I think this has been an extremely fruitful session. We've understood the challenges that are faced. We've understood some of the solutions that are required. And most importantly, for the people with experience and the true practitioners, straight from them, we have heard about what is required for industry to respond and fulfill their requirement. Thank you, gentlemen, all, for being part of this panel discussion. Over to you, Megha.
Thank you.
Yeah. What happens now, Megha?
I would like to just point out one more.
Well, we have a... Yes, till we are on.
Yeah. We are on. Actually, one more thing I wanted to just mention here, that is web-enabled this thing programs as well as some mobile app. That is also required, because still I can say that this geospatial technology in watershed management has not been used by number of practitioners or other expert working there, NGOs, etc. So there is a need of capacity building. In that, we can take the help of some web-enabled sites, etc., or mobile apps, so that it can better reach to those who are working in watershed management or development.
Okay,
So
and there's a lot available already in that area. So I'm sure it will not be very difficult for you to get services in that area.
Like for Springs, we are also planning, or we are trying to have some websites as well as some mobile apps.
All right. So, well, I think since we are all still on, maybe the slides that were meant to be seen can be seen now. Would you like to show them to us, Dr. Sandeep?
Okay, let me try if I can share my screen.
Well,
so these are some of the studies. Just about 2 years back, we started providing information to our WRD for planning of our water source structures, medium and major dams. Before construction of the dam, we create a virtual dam on a digital elevation model, draped with satellite image, and then we give them elevation, the submergence on every meter level, that how much will be the submergence, and based on that, they decide that what, and this is the total area along with the plots and the details, plot details, we overlay on top of that. So in last 2 years, we have planned about 170 such structures with WRD, Water Resource Department. And this is the recent one which we have done with the help of drone survey. Our own drone unit is there. We conducted the 3D survey. These are some sample images of the said area. And this was the proposed structure which was supposed to be there, which is supposed to be constructed, and DPR is already in process. So this we surveyed, and we showed that the site which was selected, there are some micro lineaments which are not available, which are not visible by other means. Those can be picked up in drone survey, and you can see that we have gone on different levels here, and then digital surface model also we have provided to WRD. So this is much more accurate, and then in the submergence area, what plots or land parcels are being submerged, and what is the status of that, what is the land use of that in detail that we provided. These black dots you are seeing, these are all electric poles and electric lines. All these will be submerged, so they have to be shifted, so that the cost which is to be identified in that DPR, that should be more accurate. That way we could conduct this study and share with our WRD. This is one work we are doing with water supply schemes. That for planning of water supply schemes, we are like in Jal Jeevan Mission is there, JJM. We are working with our Public Health Engineering and Jal Nigam, MP Jal Nigam. So they provide us the basic information that how much water they can get from the source, and then we do the planning based on digital elevation model, where the intake well is there, and then defining all these structures where the water treatment plant should be constructed, so that least of pumping and more of gravity flow, and then the MBR, main balancing reservoir, and then the structures further, that overhead tanks, and the design of or the route of pipelines. So this everything we did, and in just 15 days we could provide this information to the department, and they could do their planning much faster and with much more accuracy what they were doing earlier. And also the cost of survey is reduced. So
yes,
this
you
way,
mentioned that. I have to interrupt you because now we have to call our session to an end. But this was a very interesting little add-on at the end. And I just have one query to you. So you did this in the watersheds, or were these in urban areas?
No, this is in rural areas.
Rural area, in the watershed.
Rural areas
okay,
on a watershed planning.
So
not
thank you.
Urban areas also we are doing other type of studies, but this is especially an particular watershed and specially focused on rural water supply scheme or construction of a reservoir, the medium size dam.
Okay, thank you for that information. I think we've had a very interesting session, and I think we must really call our session to an end because the next one is about to begin. Thank you all, gentlemen.